Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I'm actually quite excited actually. I'm on my way to go and collect a first generation Mercedes ML. I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I really like the first generation ML. They're a proper old school body on frame truck. But because it was a Mercedes-Benz, you still got some luxury touches. A leather interior, heated seats, automatic transmission, all that sort of stuff. And also, not many people know this, but they were quite capable off-road. Yes, they were the first of the Chelsea tractors, but they were also a competent workhorse, and there's far less to go wrong than on a Discovery 3, for example. Anyway, rightly or wrongly, I just like them. I bought this one off a long-term viewer of the channel. I got a message the other day from a guy called Sergio, who I chat with occasionally, and he runs an estate agent called Apex Marbella. If you like to daydream about beautiful villas in the sunshine, then definitely check them out. Anyway, he has a 2005 Mercedes ML, which he's had for a good number of years. And although he's based in sunny Spain, he used this ML as his, well, I guess you'd call it a holiday car, so it hasn't done many miles. So his message said reluctantly he's going to try and sell his ML because he's just not spending that much time in England these days. And would I like to buy it? Would I like to buy an 18-year-old ML? Yes. Yes, I would. Obviously I said yes for various reasons. One, I really like them. Two, I know he's looked after it well because he's a car guy. And three, it's only done 60,000 miles. 60,000 miles in 18 years. I love buying older low mileage cars like this. I recently bought a 2005 Golf with only 22,000 miles on the clock. I know it's a bit nerdy, but that sort of stuff just really excites me. There's also probably not a great deal to do to it before I can sell it. For example, I know he's had the gearbox service recently. A month ago he had 4 brand new Continental tyres fitted at a cost of £1,000, so I know it's been maintained well. The tricky thing was, how do you value something like that? Had this done average mileage, so it's 18 years old, had it done 150, 170,000 miles, it'd be worth £1,000, probably no more. But the fact that this has only done 62,000 miles with £1,000 worth of tyres fitted just last month does make it a bit more valuable. We batted some figures across. He started at £3,500, I started at £2,500, and eventually we met in the middle at £3,000. And I just think that's an awful lot of car for £3,000. As always, before I agreed to buy it, I checked it out on Car Vertical and it all checked out fine. It's really important that you do one of these vehicle checks before you hand over any cash. It's really easy to use. All you do is go to carvertical.com, type in the vehicle reg, which in this case is Alpha X-Ray, so it's an Anglia car, 05 Kilo X-Ray Alpha. This checks millions of cars over dozens of countries' databases. It's really handy and really thorough. It'll tell you if it's ever been stolen, written off, has outstanding finance on it, or had its mileage tampered with. If you click the link below in the video description, use the promo code HIGHPEAK, you'll get 10% off each and every vehicle check that you do. As you can see with this particular ML, it shows you all the previous MOT history and its advisory items, although on the bright side there's nothing there too serious. It does have quite a short MOT though, so I'll have to get that done. There's only about a week left. But it's only had 2 owners from new. The last owner's had it for 5 years, and the first owner had it for 13 years. So check out Car Vertical before you hand over any cash for your used car or motorbike. It'll just stop you getting ripped off. I haven't actually seen this ML yet in the flesh, only photographs of it. So I'm just off now to pick up my friend who's going to drive this car back for me, and I'll catch up with you shortly once I'm behind the wheel of the ML. Well, here it is. I'm back in a first generation ML and I could not be happier. You might think I'm a bit odd now if you don't think I'm odd already, but I just love this era of ML. It drives like a proper truck. In fact, it drives like that G-Wagon I filmed with recently. Everything just feels solid and sturdy. You slam the door shut and there's a real thud. You select drive and again there's another thud. Everything feels mechanical. There's none of the flimsy silliness which we have to tolerate with today's cars. There's no touchscreens. It does need a few things doing to it to bring it up to scratch, but I think the car deserves it, so I shall get them all done. It needs an MOT, which I expect it'll pass. I think I'll ask my mechanic to wax oil on the side of it just to keep the rust at bay. The near side wing mirror indicator's smashed, so I'll have to order one of those. It's crying out for a set of wiper blades because they're perished. And the fabric here on the A-pillars is starting to peel off, so I think what I'll do with that is pop these covers off, take off this fabric, spray it with some, some sort of fabric adhesive, like carpet adhesive almost. That stuff that comes out like Spider-Man's web, and then refit them and tighten it right up. That should look tons tidier. Okay, anorak alert now, but I love buying low mileage cars like this. 62,521 miles in 18 years. And you can really tell the miles are genuine because, for example, you can feel all the grain on the steering wheel, a bit like my old 2002 SL. The armrest here usually goes all saggy where it's had years of people resting their elbows on it, but this hasn't. It's as tight as a drum skin. And the leather seats still have a matte finish. They haven't gone all shiny with age. The outside's filthy, but this tanzanite blue should come up really well once it's clean. It's almost like a purpley blue. It's a really nice colour. My other favourite colour of Mercedes MLs from this era was Jasper Blue. That was a really good colour. Interior wise though, there's not a great deal to do. You can tell he's looked after it because it's got mats over mats. A bit like I do, which is always the sign of an anorak. You've got mats there to protect the carpet underneath. But what about protecting the mats which protect the carpet underneath? That's when you need mats over mats, obviously. It's also due a service, so I'll get that done. It isn't due mileage wise, but it is due time wise, so I'll get that done and bring it right up to date. The tyres are all brand new, the alloys are in good condition, so I don't need to refurbish those. So there isn't a great deal to do. There is a bit of rust though in the usual places, which is a bit of a shame. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit tidier than this. Mercedes should be ashamed of themselves for that, really. It should have been a recall. Now, even though it drives like an old-fashioned body-on-frame truck, you can tell it's only done 62,000 miles because it feels really tight. It doesn't feel loose or sloppy like most MLs do. It feels quite sharp, really. I'd forgotten how bad the travel was on the brake pedal though. You really have to press it before anything happens. It's the same with the accelerator too. Almost works like a switch. You press it, nothing happens, so you press it a bit more and then you're away. This ML270 CDI uses a 5-cylinder turbo diesel engine, and I think it produces, could be wrong here, but I'm sure it's 163 horsepower. Whoa there, I've lost all my service history, because you're not stopping, are you? Been an old ML there, guys, give me some space. But no, I'm quite pleased with it though, because it is everything I was expecting it to be. And it won't need an awful lot of work to bring it up to, well, up to my fussy standards. I'm half tempted, you know, just to keep it, just for nostalgic reasons. When am I ever going to find another ML like this with this sort of mileage? This is one of those cars that people just won't have bothered to save. You rarely see them now, but in a few years' time, you just won't see them at all. Anyway, I think that's all I can tell you right now. I'm going to go and drop it off at my mechanics and let them crack on with the work. So I shall see you in, I don't know, a week or two? See you then. Right, and we're back, and it's all done, and I'm really pleased with it. Do you remember how I said that it wouldn't take much money to bring it up to scratch? Yeah, that was rubbish. As it's turned out, that statement was quite wrong, but I'm not too fussed. I've spent a lot on it, but I think it was worth it. After we last spoke, I took it to my mechanics for a service, an MOT, and a general check over. My mechanic called me the next day to say, listen Matt, we're going to have to advise the brake discs and pads. They're a little bit ropey. They'll pass an MOT, but we will have to advise them. I thought, well, I can't really have that, so I asked them to throw them away and replace them all with new. It had new wiper blades because the old ones were perished, and it also had a new indicator lens in that near side door mirror. Whilst it was up on the ramp, I actually went down to my mechanics to have a look at it. I wanted to see how rusty the underside was, and it turns out it wasn't very. The wheel arches were a bit ropey, so naturally I expected the chassis to be the same, and it wasn't. In fact, my mechanic commented on how clean it was. While it was up in the air, I asked them to thoroughly wax oil it just to protect it for the future. And that was it really. It sailed through its MOT and it didn't need an awful lot else, which was a bit of a relief. I went down to my mechanics the next day to pick something else up, and my interior trimmer guy was there, so I asked him about the fabric on these A-pillars. If you remember, the fabric had started to peel off and it looked a bit of a mess, so I asked his advice. I thought I could take them off myself, spray some adhesive on it and then stick them back, but that wasn't the case. He said by the time they've reached that point you need to take the fabric off and replace it with new. So that's what I did, and they now look as good as new. He brought them back and fitted them a couple of days later, and then it was time for me to take it to the body shop. And once again, Jimmy, my painter, has done a fantastic job. You'd never believe this car was 18 years old. I think it looks like new. He ground out all the horrible rust on the arches, filled it, and then blended the paintwork in. And I think now you'd never know that it had paint. It looks superb. He also gave it a thorough buff and then touched in any stone chips or marks with the same Tanzanite blue paint. Then I took it to the lads over at Tameside Valeting for a thorough clean. I also asked them to buff the headlamps for me. And that was pretty much it. Actually, no, that's not true. It also needed some new number plates, which I ordered and fitted, all by myself. I ordered a large plate for the back, the same as I would fit to a Range Rover, and I just thought it would look better. And straight away, I think it's just transformed the look of it. I don't know how a reg plate can make such a big difference, but it really has. It just looks chunkier somehow. I'm a bit torn with this car now because I know I should keep it. I'm never going to find a first generation ML with this sort of mileage. They're just not out there. And I know this is an overused phrase, especially here on this channel, but it's such an old money car. I think it's actually aged really well. I think it looks classy. If this were parked outside a big nice house, you'd assume the owner bought it brand new and had no reason to replace it. It's one of those cars. Anyway, let me park up somewhere and I'll talk you through my costs. I was originally hoping to spend no more than £1,000 on that, but that turned out to be quite naive. Right, well I think here will do. I forgot just how erratic the fuel gauges were on these cars. You point it uphill, it'll show half a tank. Point it downhill, it shows off the scale. Right, may as well knock the engine off. So my first bill was with my mechanics. So it's had an MOT test fee, that was £40. Oil filter oil, that was £50. A Schultz, that's the wax oil stuff underneath. New brake fluid. I forgot to point this out. It had, one of the rear brake pipes was corroded right at the back. My mechanic pointed out while it was up on the ramp, so that's been replaced. So it needed to have obviously new brake fluid and a rear axle brake pipe. That was £25. Front brake discs, front brake pads. The discs were 127 and the pads were 35. The rear brake discs were 89 and the rear brake pads were 30. Plus the labour for doing everything, that was £225. So my total, including VAT, is £786.78. Now, in addition to that, the trimmer for replacing the fabric on these A-pillars, that cost me £50. The valet and the headlamp buff cost me £90. The number plates cost me £25 and the paint bill was £370. So if I add those together, we've got, I paid £3,000 for the car, so 3 grand plus 78678. Plus 25 for the plates, 50 for the trimmer, 90 for the valeter, 370 for the painter. So my total is 4,321 and 78 pence. 4,321.78. It's a little bit over what I was expecting. I was hoping to spend around £1,000 so that this would owe me £4. But for £4,321, well, I think it looks great. I'm a little bit smitten with it, to be honest. When I bought it, I thought it would be worth retail $4,995, but because it's so nice right now and I don't really want to sell it, I'm going to put it up for $5,995. So if I sell it, let me work this out. $5,995 less 4,321. My total profit would be, pre-VAT by the way, £1,674. Of course, I'd have VAT to pay on the margin between 3 and 6, so that would be 20% of £3,000. Well, it's not actually 20%, it's the VAT content. So divide that by 6, 500 quid. So I'd be left with about £1,100. Not bad going really, is it? And most importantly, I've rescued one of my favourite cars. Right, well on that note, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. And yeah, cheers guys. See you next time.